WWE NXT Roadblock Results March 8, 2022. The WWE NXT Roadblock special opens up on the USA Network with a video package. We're live from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida as Vic Joseph welcomes us. He's joined at ringside by Wade Barrett. Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Semifinals, Wendy Choo and Dakota Kai vs Raquel González and Cora Jade. We go right to the ring for the first semifinals match in the 2022 NXT Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Raquel González and Cora Jade are out first. Wendy Choo and Dakota Kai are already waiting. We see Toxic Attraction watching from the Toxic Lounge, NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose and NXT Women's Tag Team Champions Gigi Dolan and Jacy Jayne. They have shirtless waiters serving them champagne tonight. Choo starts off with Jade and takes her down. They tangle and Choo apparently goes to sleep in the middle of the ring. Jade quietly walks over to make the tag and in comes González, who goes to work on Choo. González spins Choo around on her shoulders over and over in the middle of the ring, then slams her for a 2 count. Jade comes back in and works Choo over for another close 2 count. Choo rams Jade into the corner and in comes Kai. They double team Jade. Choo drops Jade with a kick and Kai follows up with a running boot to the face that barely connects. Jade kicks out at 2. We see Dolan and Jayne have left the Toxic Lounge for some reason. Kai with more offense on Jade for another 2 count, and another. Kai and Choo with quick tags and more offense on Jade, keeping her in their corner. Fans rally but Jade continues to get double teamed. Choo with a 2 count in the middle of the ring. Jade and Choo block suplex attempts from each other. Choo rams Jade into the corner and takes her down into a submission as González rallies fans from the apron. Jade fights up and out. They trade more suplex attempts and roll UPS now, rolling around the ring as the referee tries to stay on them. Choo sends Jade out and hits a baseball slide. Choo follows but Jade rams her into the edge of the apron. Kai is talking to herself when González approaches and they have words. Dolan and Jayne suddenly appear at ringside, taking out González with a club to the knee. González goes down clutching her knee in pain, yelling out as Kai holds her head and screams no, over and over. The referee was distracted and didn't see the sneak attack by the champs. We go to commercial. Back from the break and Kai has Jade grounded in the ring. We see what happened before the break when the champs took González down at ringside. We also see how trainers checked on González during the break but she insisted she wanted to work, and she was cleared to continue. Jade and Kai go at it back in the ring now. Jade with a dropkick. Choo tags back in but Jade unloads on her. Jade with an enziguri. González is finally back to her feet on the apron. Jade with a running knee to Choo in the corner, then another flying knee while Choo is down. Choo kicks out at 2 as fans do dueling chants. Choo counters and slams Jade with a rock bottom. Kai tags back in and they hit a double face buster on Jade for another 2 count. González is up but limping on the apron. Jade finally tags out. González with clotheslines to Choo and Kai, but her knee is giving her trouble. González with a big power slam to Kai for a 2 count. Kai with a scorpion kick to stun González. Kai with more offense now as she starts talking to herself. Kai charges for the running kick in the corner but she puts on the brakes when she starts hearing voices. She charges again for the kick but González cashes it and goes for the Chinguna bomb but her knee goes out. They go on and Choo ends up hitting a moonsault on González. Kai follows up with a double stomp for the pin to win advance. Winners, Wendy Choo and Dakota Kai. After the match, Kai and Choo celebrate as the music hits and we go to replays. They have made it to the finals and will face the winners of Io Shirai and Kay Lee Ray vs Kayden Carter and Kacy Catanzaro. Jade and officials check on González as she stares up at the Toxic Lounge. Tommaso Ciampa is backstage. He says he will become a 3-time NXT champion tonight and that is a legacy he's very proud of. He says this one feels different, maybe because of the respect he has for Bron Breakker or how Dolph Ziggler has tried to tear up the brand. Ciampa says this one means more than the title. He goes on about being the champion going into Stand and Deliver. He says Breakker and Ziggler can fight over who's number 2 all they want tonight, but never has there been such a gap between number 1 and number 2, and Ciampa is number 1. He goes on and gets fired up, then tosses his chair while exiting the room. The announcers hype WrestleMania 38 weekend. We see Tiffany Stratton walking backstage. The default Sarah is seen watching her from the background. The camera cuts out to the parking lot and the Creed brothers are laid out. Officials come check on them, as do the rest of the Diamond Mine, Malcolm Bivens, Ivy Nile, and Roderick Strong. Bivens demands to know who did this. The Creed brothers are checked on as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and the Creed brothers are in the trainer's room. Cora, Jade and Raquel González come in with the trainer next so González can be checked out. Tiffany Stratton vs Fallon Henley. We go back to the ring and out comes Tiffany Stratton. Fallon Henley is already in the ring. The bell hits and they lock up. Henley goes to work on the arm but Stratton turns it around. Henley sends Stratton across the ring and they trade more offense. Henley slides out of a hold and hits a big dropkick. Stratton drops Henley on the ropes and nails a senton against the ropes. Stratton sits on Henley against the ropes now as the referee warns her. Stratton tosses Henley to the mat for a 2 count. Henley fights up and out of a hold now, then chops Stratton. Henley keeps fighting Stratton off. Henley with a backbreaker and clothesline. Henley with a running elbow in the corner. Stratton blocks a bulldog and catches a crossbody, then puts Henley on her shoulders for a big Samoan drop. Fans applaud Stratton's strength. Stratton is suddenly distracted by fog on the stage. Sarah comes from behind, from under the ring, and kicks Stratton in the back of the head, then disappears at ringside again. Henley takes advantage and nails a sliding knee to the face for the pin to win. Winner, Fallon Henley. After the match, Henley stands tall as her music hits and we go to replays. Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs come out to raise Henley on their shoulders for a post-match celebration. We go to Andre Chase for another Chase University classroom segment. He blames some of his students for last week's weak entrance, which threw him off his game for the loss to Von Wagner, but says in this class we turn negatives into positives. Chase says the one student who came through for him last week was Bodie Hayward. One student points out how Hayward looks beat up from last week. Chase yells at the student, calls him a disrespectful motherfucker and assaults him to end the segment. Still to come, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are back in the barber shop. Back to commercial. Back from the break and we see Trick Williams and NXT North American Champion Carmelo Hayes hanging out with others at the barber shop. Trick talks about the various wrestlers who Hayes has retained over. Hayes goes on about how he's been climbing the ladder of success in NXT, rung by rung. Hayes hypes his ladder match title defense at Stand and Deliver. Trick suggests they have 4 challengers, and make them all qualify. Hayes agrees. Hayes says he has a mission at Stand and Deliver and that's to stand at the top of the ladder with his title, and deliver the performance of a lifetime to prove that he is the greatest NXT North American champion ever. Hayes says the A-Champ never misses, and that's all it is. They start getting their haircuts to end the segment. We go to a new episode of Lash In Out with Lash Legend. She says tonight's guest wants to talk about it. She introduces her guest and out comes Nikita Lyons. Lash brings up Lyons' mom being a groupie. Lyons says her mom taught her not to be judgmental. They have some words and Lash says Lyons may have everyone fooled but she's not convinced, and Lyons thinks she's all that because she trends every time she's on NXT. Lyons tells Lash to get her finger out of her face. Lash accuses her of having butt implants. Lyons says underneath the fake nails and spray tan, she's all natural, and Lash is full of shit. They face off and keep yelling at each other as security tries to separate them. Mackenzie Mitchell is backstage with Marcel Barthel and Fabian Aichner. They insist they didn't attack the Creed brothers and say it's a shame they didn't get to defend against them tonight. Imperium says they would never take the honor from the sport by using underhanded tactics. They go on until MSK interrupts. MSK offers to fill in for the Creed brothers tonight, win their titles back, and then give the Creed brothers a title shot when they're ready. MSK and Imperium have words to end the segment. Last man standing match, LA Knight vs Grayson Waller. We go back to the ring and out comes LA Knight for this Falls Count Anywhere match. Knight poses for the crowd and they cheer him on as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and Fallon Henley is with Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs backstage, wondering who attacked the Creed brothers. Briggs and Jensen see Legado del Fantasma, and wonder if they attacked the Creed brothers. Santos Escobar has no idea what they're talking about, and Raul Mendoza says everyone knows when they attack someone, and they attack people from the front, not behind. The two sides keep arguing and Elektra Lopez says they won't deal with a guy who can't get laid. Jensen says he's trying. They laugh at Jensen some more and exit the building. Henley wonders again if they attacked the Creed brothers but they didn't. We go back to the ring and out comes Grayson Waller. Knight ambushes him and here we go. Knight beats Waller down to the ringside area and goes to use a trash can but Waller blocks and turns it around. Knight counters and whips Waller into the steel ring steps. Knight poses on top of the steps as fans chant his name. Knight lays Waller on the apron and elbows him. Knight brings it in the ring and slingshots Waller under the bottom rope throat first. Knight stomps away on Waller in the corner now. Knight levels Waller with a big running boot and the referee checks on Waller but he gets back up. They go at it and Waller drops Knight over the top rope to booze. The referee counts but Waller attacks with knees. Waller works Knight over to keep control as fans chant Waller sucks, now. Waller with more offense. He levels Knight and tells the referee to count but Knight makes it back to his feet. Knight slides off Waller's shoulders and goes for the BFT but Waller drops him. Waller talks some trash and slaps Knight around. Knight runs into a big boot in the corner. Waller goes to the top but Knight leaps up with him, then slams him to the mat for a big pop. The referee counts as fans chant for Waller. Knight breaks the count and drops Waller with a BFT in the middle of the ring. The referee counts again but Waller makes it up at 7. Knight with a big forearm to the chest on the apron, then a clothesline, sending Waller down on the edge of the apron and to the floor. Waller smacks Knight in the face with a trash can. We go to a picture-in-picture commercial break as fans boo Waller. Back from the break and they're fighting up into the crowd, on a platform above the fans now. They trade shots up on the high scaffolding as fans cheer them on. Knight knocks Waller down a steep drop. Fans chant for Knight as he walks through the crowd now. We see Sanga at ringside, and he's carrying Waller to booze. Sanga apparently caught Waller on the fall. Knight attacks Sanga but Sanga blocks a shot, then chokeslams Knight on the edge of the apron. Sanga wraps Knight's legs around the ring post as Waller deals with the referee. Mackenzie checks in from backstage and says the Creed brothers are not medically cleared to compete, but MSK will take their places in tonight's title match. Knight ends up fighting Sanga off, then handcuffing him to the ring post. Waller is shocked as Knight attacks and mounts a fence. Knight with the inverted neck breaker for a big pop. Fans chant for tables now. Knight slams Waller in the middle of the ring and waits for him to get up. Waller blocks the BFT and connects with a thumb to the eye. Fans boo. Waller goes out but comes right back in, only for Knight to grab him and launch him out of the ring, through a table that was standing at ringside. Fans chant holy shit, as the referee counts. Waller barely gets up at the 9 count. Knight goes back out and beats Waller against the barrier with right hands, stunning him. Waller is down on his knees, pleading as Knight grabs a steel chair and yells at him. Knight drops the chair and levels Waller with a big boot to the face. Knight places a trash can over Waller's upper body, then unloads on him and the can with the chair. Knight goes over to the ring post now and hits Sanga in the back with a steel chair as he's still cuffed to the ring post. Knight unloads on Sanga with chair shots to the back. Waller and Sanga are both down at ringside now. Knight starts clearing off the announce table. Knight brings Waller onto the announce table, but Waller hits him with a foreign object, which Sanga had in his pockets. Knight is laid out on top of the announce table thanks to the cheap shot from the weapon. Waller returns to the ring and goes to the top, then flies with an elbow drop to put Knight through the table. Fans chant "Holy shit," now. The referee counts as Waller and Knight try to get up. Waller latches onto Sanga's back, while Sanga is still cuffed to the ring post, but Sanga helps hold Waller's body as the referee counts Knight down for the finish. Winner, Grayson Waller. After the match, Waller stands tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Sanga and Waller are in the middle of the ring now, while we see Knight still laid out in the table debris. Bron Breakker is backstage getting ready for the main event. Bron says he's going into the match as NXT champion, but he's also the underdog who busts his ass every day while his opponents have more experience. Bron goes on about how he busts his ass so hard because he loves this business. He thinks about the number of days he's held the title, those who held it before him, and the hard work it takes to keep it, and that's what drives him. Bron says if tonight there's one last roadblock in his way before Stand and Deliver, then he's going to run through it. Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Semifinals, Kay Ray and Io Shirai vs Kacy Catanzaro and Kayden Carter. We go back to the ring for the last semifinals match in the 2022 NXT Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Kay Ray is out next with her baseball bat. Io Shirai is out next and they head to the ring together. We go back to commercial. Back from the break and Tony D'Angelo is eating at an Italian restaurant, owned by his cousin Mikey. Tony says he's going places and it's about time NXT runs on his watch, and at Stand and Deliver he will. Tony says people come from various countries to see Stand and Deliver and they will see him take his shot, and become the new Don of NXT. D'Angelo teased something big for Stand and Deliver again. We go back to the ring and out comes Kayden Carter and Kacy Catanzaro. We see NXT Women's Champion Mandy Rose in the Toxic Lounge, and it's Edris Enofe and Malik Blade who are serving her. The camera shows the original shirtless waiters laid out in the back somewhere, implying Blade and Enofe took them out so they could get closer to Toxic Attraction. KLR and Carter start things off in the ring. They show each other up to start. KLR rocks Carter and chops her now. Carter fights back and chops KLR down. They trade roll UPS. Carter with more offense for 2. Catanzaro tags in and they double team KLR with speed. Catanzaro warns Shirai as she waits for a tag. Shirai tags in and shows up Catanzaro. Catanzaro shows her up now and covers for 2. Shirai with another pin attempt. The back and forth continues until all 4 women meet in the middle of the ring and have words. Carter and Catanzaro clear the ring. Carter with the apron crossbody to KLR, while Catanzaro leaps from the apron to Shirai. They both return to the apron and pose as we see Enofe and Blade serving Rose again. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Shirai is going at it with Carter. Shirai prevents a tag, then scoops Carter for a slam but Carter turns it into a big DDT. Fans rally for both teams. Catanzaro tags in and runs wild, knocking KLR off the apron and dropping Shirai. Fans chant for Catanzaro as she clotheslines Shirai in the corner, then spikes her for a 2 count. Shirai runs into a boot. Carter tags herself in and Shirai missed it, and got laid out for not seeing the tag. Shirai drops Carter face first into the ropes, then connects with 619. Shirai goes to the top and hits the missile drop kick to Carter for a close 2 count. Shirai shows some frustration now. We see Mandy looking not so impressed and maybe a little creeped out with Enofe and Blade in the Toxic Lounge. KLR tags in and unloads on both opponents. Carter spikes KLR into the mat for another close 2 count. Fans chant "This is awesome," now as all 4 competitors are down. Carter gets slapped by KLR, but she comes back with a super kick. KLR shuts down a double team attempt, leaving Catanzaro upside down in the corner. Shirai and KLR try for a double suplex but they can't hit it. Carter comes in and Shirai gets sent out to the floor. Catanzaro spikes KLR off Carter's shoulders with a big Hurricane Rana. She covers for the win but Shirai leaps into the ring and shoves Carter into them to break the pin. Fans chant "Holy shit, now!" Shirai sends Carter into the steel ring steps. KLR super kicks Catanzaro as she goes for Shirai. KLR with the KLR bomb to Catanzaro. Shirai goes to the top and hits her signature moonsault for the pin to win and advance to the finals. Winners, Io Shirai and Kay Lee. After the match, KLR and Shirai celebrate in the middle of the ring as the music hits and we get replays. They will now face Wendy, Choo and Dakota Kai in the finals. Mandy looks on from the toxic lounge, staring down at Shirai and KLR. Rose is suddenly attacked by Cora Jade. Inoue and Blade try to pull her off. Indy Hartwell is backstage watching a replay of how she and Persia Pirata lost to Dakota Kai and Wendy Choo last week. Persia comes in with Duke Hudson and Indy asks where she's been. Persia talks about all the fun things they've been doing. Indy asks if Persia cares they lost last week. Persia says she was angry they lost but Duke took care of her. There's some arguing between Persia and Indy. Persia says she carried the team and supported Indy during her time with Dexter Lumis. Indy doesn't like the fact that she said she carried the team. They keep arguing and Duke tries to calm things but Indy tells him to shut up because he's not needed here. Indy says let's find out once and for all who the better woman is here. Indy walks off. Duke tells Persia she's going to need to change first, or maybe he said she will need a training partner. Persia says why wait, then she shoves Duke against a locker and starts kissing him to end the segment. We see MSK backstage warming up. We also see Imperium heading to the ring. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Mackenzie Mitchell is with Tiffany Stratton in the back. Tiffany says last week she tried to help Sarah with her tacky wardrobe but she said no, and nobody says no to Tiffany. Stratton goes on and says she will do more than break Sarah's ugly necklace next week, she will break her face. Stratton walks off. NXT Tag Team Titles match, MSK vs Imperium. We go back to the ring and out first comes MSK, Wes Lee and Nash Carter. NXT Tag Team Champions Imperium are out next, Marcel Barthel and Fabian Aichner. Gunther is not with them. The bell rings and Barthel starts off with Carter. Carter kicks out of a hold but Barthel tightens it. Carter breaks free and goes to the top but Barthel kicks him in the head. Barthel with more offense. Carter uses his speed now. They run the ropes together and Barthel levels Carter with an uppercut. Barthel with kicks to the back to keep Carter down. Barthel grounds Carter with a submission now. Carter breaks out with a jawbreaker. Lee tags in and they unload on Barthel with double team offense. Fans boo. Lee covers for a 2 count. Lee with kicks to Barthel now. Barthel rocks Lee and tags in Aichner. Lee with a shot to the face but Aichner comes back with a stiff slam, dropping Lee on his head. Aichner works on the leg now, grounding Lee for a 2 count. Lee slides out of a hold and unloads on Aichner. Carter tags back in for more double teaming but Aichner kicks out at 2. Aichner fights Carter off, then nails a huge clothesline from the corner. Fans chant "We want Creed, now." Barthel tags back in and takes over on Carter. Carter fights up and out but Carter takes his knees out and they both go down. Carter drops Aichner off the apron, then tags in Lee. Lee runs wild on Barthel and drop kicks him in the back of the neck. Lee with more offense and a moonsault in the corner. Carter tags in but leaps off the apron to take Barthel down on the floor. Aichner catches Lee in midair for a big backbreaker. The Creed brothers suddenly rush the ring for a big pop. They attack both teams for the disqualification. No contest. After the bell, fans chant Creed, as Brutus Creed and Julius Creed unload on MSK and Imperium. The brothers clear the ring and destroy both of the other teams, then stand tall in the middle of the ring as fans cheer them on. Draco Anthony is in the gym working out when he looks up and sees Harlan staring at him from across the ring. Draco stands up to fight, but Joe Gacy stops him and tells him they come in peace, and they didn't mean to interrupt his workout. Gacy knows Draco has thought about this, so he should open up and let others into his life. Zian Quinn interrupts and tells Draco not to listen to these clowns because he's his own man. Gacy says he wants Draco to live his own life instead of living a lie. Gacy says Draco can have some more time to think about this, they will be waiting. Harlan and Gacy walk off. Draco thanks Quinn. Triple threat for the NXT title, Dolph Ziggler vs Tommaso Ciampa vs Bron Breakker. Dolph Ziggler is backstage cutting a promo on his way to the ring. He calls for his music to be hit, the good one, and out he comes for the main event. Ziggler goes to the ring as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and we get a vignette on NXT UK superstar A-Kid. He talks about his career and what he's done in NXT UK, and says he's coming to NXT 2.0. A-Kid is excited to face the best wrestlers in NXT 2.0 and show the world what he is all about. We go backstage to jacket time, Eichmann, Jiro and Kushida. Jiro is extremely excited about A-Kid coming to NXT 2.0. Kushida says A-Kid is good, and Jiro asks Kushida if he thinks he's better. Kushida just stares straight ahead and barely smirking and barely nodding his head. The first stand and deliver ladder match is announced for next week with Cameron Grimes vs Santos Escobar. We go back to the ring and Ziggler waits as Tommaso Ciampa makes his way out. NXT champion Bron Breakker is out next with the title around his waist. We get formal ring introductions from Alicia Taylor. The bell rings and they size each other up. Ziggler teases a super kick but rolls to the floor. Ciampa rolls Breakker up as soon as he turns his back, but he kicks out at 2. Ziggler comes right back in and they go at it. Ciampa ends up launching Breakker, then decking Ziggler in the corner. Ciampa and Breakker tangle now. Ziggler leaps but Breakker takes him out of the air with a spinebuster. Bron takes Ciampa out next. Bron grabs both challengers and hits a double suplex with an awkward landing on it. Bron stands tall as fans bark for him. Ciampa rocks Bron while he's up on the top turnbuckle facing the crowd. Ziggler comes next and shoves Bron to the floor. Ziggler and Ciampa go at it now. Ziggler blocks the fairy tale ending. Ziggler ends up unloading on Ciampa in the corner. Ciampa comes back with a clothesline. Ciampa slingshots Ziggler into the top turnbuckle. Ciampa runs the ropes and leaps to the floor, taking Bron down. Ciampa stands tall at ringside and applauds as fans cheer him on. Ciampa unloads going from corner to corner on both opponent now. Ziggler levels Ciampa with a knee to the back of the neck. Ziggler poses and shows off but turns around to a big clothesline by Breakker. We go to a picture-in-picture commercial with all three superstars down now. Back from the break and Ziggler mounts Ciampa in the corner with lefts and rights. Ciampa powers Ziggler out and down into an inverted atomic drop. Breakker slams Ziggler. Ciampa and Breakker go at it now. Bron lifts Ciampa high in the air and slams him to the mat. Breakker with the Steiner recliner to Ciampa in the middle of the ring now. Ziggler comes in and applies a sleeper to Bron's back, but Bron hasn't broke the recliner yet. Ciampa gets free but Ziggler is still on Bron's back. Bron powers up with Ziggler on his back, then slams him to the mat. Fans chant NXT, as all three superstars try to recover. Bron and Ziggler start trading big strikes first as they get to their feet. Ciampa rocks Bron. Ziggler and Ciampa trade shots now. Bron, Ciampa, and Ziggler are trading big strikes in the middle of the ring. Ciampa sends Bron to the floor, Ziggler rolls Ciampa up for 2. Ziggler ends up hitting a Fameasser and a zigzag but somehow Ciampa kicks out. Ziggler can't believe it. Bron stops Ziggler from super kicking Ciampa. Ziggler drops Bron with a DDT. Ciampa kicks Ziggler and goes for a powerbomb, holding him in the air. We see Breakker dive at their feet and go to the floor for some awkward reason. Bron is catching his breath at ringside, the announcers say, and they say his legs may have gone out. Ziggler kicks out of Ciampa's powerbomb. Breaker and Ziggler tangle now. Bron hits a big spear and gets hype as fans bark. Bron presses Ziggler high in the air and drops him into the power slam. Bron covers, but Robert Roode pulls Bron to the floor. Bron gets up and drops Roode at ringside. Fans pop for Bron. Ciampa hits Willow's bell to Bron in the ring and goes for the fairy tale ending, but Ziggler cuts him off and for a close 2 count. Ziggler can't believe it. Ciampa tosses Ziggler out of the ring. Ciampa charges for the running knee to Bron, but Roode pulls Bron out of the way and to the floor. Ziggler takes advantage with a super kick and pins Ciampa for the title win. Winner and new NXT champion, Dolph Ziggler. After the match, the music hits as Ziggler and Roode celebrate with the title. Breaker is shocked and can't believe it. Fans boo as we go to replays. Ciampa and Roode continue celebrating at the entranceway as a disappointed Breaker looks out at them from the ring. NXT Roadblock goes off the air.